Berlin has just done what many thought it never would. After years of hesitation, endless debates, and carefully worded speeches about moral restraint, Germany has finally crossed the line no one expected it to. A line that's left Kyiv stunned, Moscow furious, and Washington quietly alarmed. Because in October 2025, Germany announced something extraordinary. A $2 billion weapons package for Ukraine, the largest and most ambitious support package Europe has ever seen since the war began. This isn't just aid, it's a turning point. Patriot and IRIS-T air defense systems, long-range drones, precision artillery, and joint production deals. Germany is no longer watching from the sidelines. It's building the battlefield. For decades, Berlin hid behind cautious diplomacy and moral caution, but this is escalation with purpose. A geopolitical shockwave disguised as cooperation. Because what Germany just set in motion isn't another arms shipment. It's a declaration, a statement that the age of hesitation is over. Section 1. The 2 billion shockwave. The October 2025 announcement sent ripples across Europe. Kyiv could barely believe it. The same Germany that once debated whether to send helmets was now funding long-range drones and advanced missile systems capable of reshaping the front lines. This package wasn't symbolic. It was transformative. Over 2 billion euros in weapons, systems, and logistics. Patriot and IRIS-T air defense batteries to intercept missiles and drones, precision-guided artillery to counter Russian offensives, next-gen radar systems to track incoming threats, and a $400 million investment to mass-produce long-range drones inside Ukraine itself. The result? For the first time, Ukraine could strike deep into enemy logistics networks and command hubs while maintaining a defense grid capable of neutralizing Russian missiles during the brutal winter months. Each delivery wasn't just a weapon. It was a signal. To Moscow, we're not afraid to escalate. To Washington, we're capable of leading. And to Kyiv, you're not alone anymore. Section 2. From caution to command. Germany's contribution now exceeds 9 billion euros annually, making it Ukraine's largest European backer and second only to the United States. But the shock wasn't just in the money. It was in the shift of philosophy. For decades, Germany approached war with guilt and restraint. Now, it's embracing strategic assertiveness. In May 2025, Chancellor Friedrich Merz and President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a deal that changed the game. Joint production of missiles, drones, and precision systems, both in Germany and Ukraine. This wasn't aid, it was partnership. For the first time, a major European power was transferring industrial capability, not just supplies. By July, German-funded Ukrainian systems were already operational. Hundreds of Antonov 196 drones took flight, striking deep into Russian depots and bases. German engineering combined with Ukrainian resilience had produced something the world hadn't seen before. A hybrid European war economy built for endurance.
Section 3. Drones, missiles, and factories. Inside Ukraine, new factories began to rise, not just for repair, but for production. German defense giants like Rheinmetall and Hensoldt were at the center of it. Rheinmetall expanded artillery and ammunition plants. Hensoldt delivered air defense and targeting systems. Quantum Systems localized drone production, employing dozens of Ukrainians to build 1,000 drones a year. The partnership was more than military, it was transformational. Ukraine gained the ability to produce, repair, and innovate under fire. Germany gained access to the most valuable data any modern army could ask for, real-time combat feedback. For Kyiv, this meant survival. For Berlin, it marked the end of the post-war mindset that had restrained it for generations. Section 4. Breaking the range barrier. Then came May 26, 2025, the day Germany erased one of its oldest taboos. Speaking at the WDR Europa Forum, Chancellor Merz announced, "There are no longer any range restrictions on weapons delivered to Ukraine." That statement shattered a decades-old boundary. For the first time, Western-supplied weapons could strike inside Russian territory, legally, strategically, and openly. The Kremlin called it dangerous and provocative. NATO allies watched in uneasy silence, but Germany stood firm. The Taurus cruise missile, capable of hitting targets up to 500 kilometers away, became the symbol of this new doctrine, Germany's strategic ambiguity. Shipments were no longer public, deliveries went unconfirmed, and the battlefield grew more unpredictable than ever. This was no longer about moral restraint, it was about deterrence through uncertainty. Section 5. The Rise of the German War Economy. While Germany changed its foreign policy, it also rebuilt its industrial backbone. Germany began turning budgets into weapons and factories into arsenals. Rheinmetall's new Mammoth plant became the heart of this rebirth, producing 155mm artillery shells at a pace Europe hadn't seen in decades. By the end of 2025, Germany aimed to deliver 25,000 shells to Ukraine, ramping up to 350,000 annually by 2027. That's still behind Russia's massive 4 to 5 million shells per year, but the direction was clear. Europe's war economy was being rebuilt, and Germany was leading the charge. Joint ventures in Ukraine accelerated this further. German-funded facilities producing 6-digit quantities of ammunition with local labor. It wasn't just about supply, it was about sovereignty. Germany had turned from donor to architect of Europe's rearmament. Then came the next twist, not from Moscow, but from Washington. In July 2025, President Donald Trump announced a radical policy shift. The United States would keep producing weapons for Ukraine, but Europe would foot the entire bill. It was transactional diplomacy at its finest. And Germany didn't hesitate. Chancellor Merz agreed immediately, calling it a necessary arrangement. His reasoning was simple. If paying ensures Europe's security, then it's not a cost, it's an investment. NATO Secretary General confirmed it. Europe would now pay 100% of the cost for American-made weapons. For Washington, it was profit. For Berlin, it was power. Because now, Germany effectively controlled Europe's defense financing. The pipeline of weapons still flowed through the US, but the funding, and therefore the leverage, flowed through Berlin. For the first time since 1945, Europe's defense didn't run through Washington. It ran through Germany.
Section 7. Maintenance, modernization, and data warfare. Germany's involvement didn't end with delivery. It expanded into maintenance, modernization, and battlefield adaptation. German engineers worked side by side with Ukrainian forces to recalibrate artillery, upgrade radar systems, and integrate AI software into drone networks. Each repair wasn't just upkeep, it was data. Every adjustment taught Germany how modern warfare truly worked. The tempo, the failures, and the innovations born in real time under pressure. This live feedback loop reshaped Germany's own defense doctrine. The lessons learned in Ukraine would soon influence how Berlin trained its troops and designed future weapons. Section 8. The Power Grid Frontline. But Germany also understood, wars aren't won by weapons alone. They're won by survival. As missiles destroyed Ukraine's infrastructure, Berlin opened a second front, the energy war. In October 2025, Germany launched a $60 million winter defense package to restore critical energy systems. Over 30,000 components, from transformers to substations, were shipped to Ukraine. Power grids were rebuilt. Hospitals stayed lit. Families stayed warm. Corporations like Siemens, RWE, and E.ON became as vital to Ukraine's survival as Patriot missiles were to its defense. This dual effort protecting the skies and powering the nation cemented Germany's new identity as both warrior and builder. Section 9. A Post-American Europe.
By late 2025, something extraordinary had happened. Without declaring it, Europe's defense structure had quietly shifted. Washington was still present, but it was Berlin that called the shots. Frozen Russian assets worth $200 billion were now being debated as funding for Ukraine's recovery, and Germany's finance minister signaled support. NATO's new fast-track program was delivering $500 million in weapons each month, mostly financed by Germany. The shift was undeniable. Europe's center of gravity, politically, militarily, and financially, had moved to Berlin. Section 10. The Awakening. What began as hesitation in 2022 had become leadership in 2025. Germany, once defined by restraint, had reinvented itself as the engine of Europe's defense. Its $9 billion annual commitment, its new war factories, and its rebuilt energy networks all symbolized one thing. Germany was no longer Europe's reluctant power. It was Europe's indispensable one. But power never comes with consequence. Berlin's decisions will define not only Ukraine's fate, but the moral and political future of the entire continent. In Kiev, there's gratitude. In Moscow, there's rage. And in Washington, there's realization. Europe no longer needs a protector. It's found its own. Germany's courage has rewritten history. The only question now is whether it can carry the weight of the legacy it just awakened. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into global power shifts. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Has Germany finally stepped into the leadership role Europe has been waiting for? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.